Okay, your third forum relates to Kant and his grounding to the metaphysic of morals, and it requires you to have actually read the first section of the grounding to the metaphysic of morals and engage with the critique at the beginning of the second section. Remember the four cases of actions estimated with regard to duty. Only that fourth case, the case from duty alone, absent of any self-serving or immediate inclinations, counts as an action that has genuine moral worth. Well, Kant begins the second section of his grounding to the metaphysic of morals, and actually it's a sustained response to this critique throughout the second section, but nonetheless, he introduces this possible criticism of his position from self-love moralists on the first page, on page 19 of the second section of the grounding. And I'll just read a little bit of it here. Hence, there have always been philosophers who have absolutely denied the reality of this disposition in human actions, the disposition to act from duty alone, and have ascribed everything to a more or less refined form of self-love. In so doing, they've cast doubt upon the rightness of the concept of morality, or they've not cast doubt on the rightness of the concept of morality. Rather, they've spoken with sincere regret as to the frailty and impurity of human nature, which they think is noble enough to take as its precept an idea so worthy of respect, but yet too weak to follow this idea. Reason, which should legislate for human nature, is used only to look after the interest of inclinations, whether singly or at best in their greatest possible harmony with one another. So, the problem is, these self-love moralists are arguing that there is not now, nor has there ever been, a case of case 4, right? An action that is actually contrary to immediate or self-serving inclinations, yet an action that is occasioned and actually performed from the principle of duty alone. That is, reason acting upon the will with the inclination in brackets over there. Remember, this is the only action that has genuine moral worth for Kant. Right? So these self-love moralists are actually claiming there's never been such a thing as such an action. There can't be, there hasn't been, etc., etc. So this question asks you to engage with this criticism and to ask yourself, does this present an actual problem for Kantian morality? Right? Does this argument it really pose a problem for Kant? Or, and in fact, Kant doesn't think so, and Kant thinks it's quite beside the point, right? His response. The question from page 20, the question at issue here is not whether this or that has happened, but that reason of itself, independently of all experience, commands what ought to happen. Consequently, reason unrelentingly commands actions of which the world has perhaps hitherto never provided an example, and whose feasibility might be well doubted by one who bases everything upon experience. For instance, even though there might never have yet been a sincere friend, still pure sincerity and friendship is nonetheless required of every man, because this duty, prior to all experience, is contained as duty in general in the idea of a reason that determines the will by means of a priori grounds. Here's another example to chew on for this, just to illustrate Kant's response to this criticism. Let's say, for argument's sake, anytime any human being ever in the whole history of human beings has ever been in a committed relationship, that is an exclusive relationship, one in which you will not become romantic with someone else, every relationship, every human being in such a relationship has cheated. Kant wants to ask the further question, not just whether or not anybody actually does this, but is it right to cheat in that case? Let's say everybody cheats. Is it right to cheat then? Kant wants to argue no, because contained within the idea, the principle of the action, is this limitation, right? So effectively, when you cheat, you are in violation in principle, right? Already. So what I want you to do in this forum is to engage with this notion of duty and ask whether or not the criticism Kant offers from these self-love moralists actually hits much deeper in Kant's position than he is giving it credit for, or whether Kant has sufficiently defended himself against it. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy it. Kant's a bugger. If you have questions, good place to work them out is in the forum. All right. So I don't understand the idea of duty alone. That might be a valid discussion within the context of this question. Right. So I hope this forum is useful to you, and have good days. One for each of you.